सबसे अलग है सबसे जुदा सुनो एक नई आवाज़ बातें नई है नया अंदाज सुनो एक नई आवाज़ दिल से है आपके साथ नया है ये पेशकदम.
Water is life, but what happens when that life begins to run scarce? I'm your host Mehpara and you are listening to Peshkadam, the voice of Islamic University of Science and Technology. Today's program brings you a glimpse of how IUST Avantipura marked World Water Day 2026. A day that reminds us of the value of water and the urgency of using it responsibly. The focus this year was on water management and the importance of gender inclusion. The program began with an inaugural session. Dr. Sumaira Nazir welcomed the participants and highlighted the need to approach water issues in a smart and inclusive way.
Every drop we save today keeps tomorrow from slipping away. Not hers alone, not his to claim. Together we protect, together we sustain. This year's theme emphasizes sustainable and resource management with special focus on water and gender. It highlights a critical reality that water challenges today are not merely about availability but also about accessibility, governance, and equity in the fragile Himalayan region like Jammu and Kashmir.
The keynote address was delivered by Vice Chancellor Professor Shakil Ahmed Ramshu. He spoke about the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, often called the water tower of Asia, and the challenge it currently facing.
Jammu Kashmir Ladakh is also called water tower of Asia. And if you try to quantify what is the amount of water that comes from this region, is very huge. I don't know if you are familiar with what units, So if you Google it, you will find that, that this region has a tremendous amount of water available. 135 million acre feet of water. 170 billion metric cube. So if you convert that into per capita, we have one of the highest per capita water availability in the entire South Asia. Even after this, if you feel that you don't get 24/7 water in your homes, it is a water governance problem. It is not water supply problem.
He highlighted issues like pollution, melting glaciers, and changing weather patterns, all contributing to water stress in the region.
And if you look at the water quality, if you talk to your parents, if you talk to your grandparents, they will say that in their childhood, when they were of your age, they used to drink water from the, nalas, wells, streams, lakes, wetlands. So it was very common in 70s. After 70s, people say that if you look at the water quality of these water bodies, just from 70s, you will see that it was very good in 70s also. People would just go and swim and drink also water. That's not the case. So water quality, when I say water quality, I mean the pollution of the water. So it is significantly increased. And again, this has a lot to do with urbanization, with population increase, built-up areas increasing. We don't have a proper sewage treatment, in the whether it is the wastewater or whether it is the solid waste. All that it finds its way into these water bodies. We have been hearing for the last few years climate change. Climate change has emerged as a very important threat to the water resources, particularly in regions like Jammu and Kashmir. Because as I said, we have about 23,000 glaciers in Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand this, that if we increase the temperature of any place, any system, and there's ice, so it will start melting very fast. So we are fastly losing this resource. And it goes into the oceans. Because even these, 135 million acre feet of water, don't think that it is used all. A lot of it goes to the oceans. So we are not able to use it because, as rightly said, water governance, water management issues. We don't have storages somewhere where we can, use that. So we are fastly losing this resource, particularly if you see in last 10 years.
Dean Academic Affairs Professor Ayaz Hassan Moon addressed the gathering. He spoke about the growing pressure on water resources and the need for urgent action.
Normally we observe such days so that important message is conveyed down the line. But most important message I believe about water, its conservation, its importance was done about 1400 years back. When Holy Quran was revealed, and there's a ayat in Surah Anbiya which says that all the human life or all the life is made out of water. All the living beings are made out of water. Now that's the kind of the message, and it encompasses every science, every social aspect, every political aspect, every economic aspect, if you just follow this particular message. And then also, there are strict guidelines that you have to conserve the water. You cannot just go on spending it, even if it is available in plenty. On one of the occasions when a Sahabi was performing ablution on a flowing stream, and Hazrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam observed that he was sort of very liberal in using the water because he was using the flowing stream. He reprimanded him. He said, no, even if it's a flowing stream, you have to be very judicious in the use of water. So these are the messages that we need to carry forward and then try to implement it in our lives.
He also pointed to better planning, efficient management, and the use of modern technologies to improve water conservation.
I would say we should think about not only water management, but time has come when we talk about water governance also. When we talk about water governance, it encompasses the policy framework, the regulatory framework, the legal framework, the social aspects of everything about the water. It will primarily talk about who gets the water and how much he will get it. That is what the governance would say. The management will talk about how the water will reach, how you will distribute the water, how will you plan for it, how will you monitor the supplies, how will you look after maintenance part of it. So we need to be careful about both management as well as the governance. On the other side, we are primarily a scientific and a technical university. And I believe that there's a lot of scope in doing some technology intervention, in developing systems wherein we can sense, we can monitor, we can regulate, we can perform analytics.
After the inaugural session, the program moved into technical discussions. Experts shared insights on water resource planning and wetland conservation in Jammu and Kashmir. A special session on water and gender linked to global development goals also saw active participation from students. The event also featured a panel discussion focusing on key challenges such as water scarcity, environmental degradation, and climate change. Experts emphasized the need for strong research, effective policies, and community participation. The program concluded with closing remarks, a summary of discussions, and the distribution of certificates. Water is not just a resource we use, it's something we depend on every single day. The choice we make, even the smaller ones, matter. Use water carefully, value it, protect it. I am Mehpara. You have been listening to Peshkadam.
सबसे अलग है सबसे जुदा सुनो एक नई आवाज़